This program is brought to you by Pussy Magnets.
Put a midge on your friend with a pussy magnet.
Welcome, my lovely lumps. Or should I say lovely labs? I'm so thrilled to have you here in the Labia Lounge. We're going to yarn about all things sexuality, womanhood, relationships, intimacy, holistic health, and everything in between. Your legs. Ooh, can't help myself. Anyway, we're going to have vag loads of real chats with real people about real shit. So buckle up, you're about to receive the sex ed that you never had and have a bloody good laugh while you're at it. Before we dive in, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm recording this, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. It's an absolute privilege to be living and creating dope podcast content in Naarm, and I pay respect to their elders past, present, and emerging. Now, if you're ready, let's flap and do this. Oh my God, is there such thing as too many vagina jokes in the one intro? Whatever, it's my podcast. I'm leaving it in.
Don't panic, you're not broken. Your sex education was a piece of shit. Get your flaps out and pull up a couch. It's the Labia Lounge.
Hey, sugars. I'm back. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a few weeks there where there were just mysteriously no new episodes. That was partly because life was happening and I was moving house and spent a week at Esoteric festival where I was recording some fucking awesome content for you, and partly because I thought, you know what, this is going to be my 100th episode. I want to do something extra special, and I'm going to take a few extra weeks to do that rather than trying to hustle and rush one out, because the 100th episode really crept up on me, and then I was like, oh damn, I don't actually have anything planned for this. So I just thought I'll take a few weeks off, go to the festival, get some live content, and come up with some fresh shit for you, some hot, fresh shit. And honestly, like, it's a bit of a slow start, this epi, but stick it out because, oh my God, I had some insane conversations and some pants-wetting moments of laughter, and yeah, it's great fun. So this is the first installment. I've got like 4 hours worth of interviews with punters at Esoteric. And yeah, there's some really cool stuff in there, some really cool questions and convos and topics that we cover. So yeah, this is your first serving and I hope you enjoy it. All right, let's test this out. I'm sitting in the back of the van. We've arrived at Esoteric Festival a couple of days ago. It's been apocalyptic. The environment feels hostile. The double G's, that's colloquial for like nuclear size fuck off prickles with like 4 big spikes on each side that literally puncture bike tires, thongs, tents, tarps, all of it. They are proliferating in the exact spot that we were allocated. It was fucked. Kind of ruined our night and our setup a bit, and then we were like, all right, this is unlivable. Let's move. So we packed up, we pulled out all the double G's from the bottoms of our shoes and all through our shit in our cars, and we relocated, and then we set up again. And then it's been so windy that the gazebo took a bit of a hike and bent one of the legs, nearly snapped. It's just been a bit of a shit show, hasn't it? Yeah. Get in here. To say the least. To say the least. Come and pull up a beanbag. So currently we're not really sure if we're going to be able to actually do the Labia Lounge and go ahead with the kind of intended setup. We've got this gorgeous orange gazebo, which is now looking pretty worse for wear. We've got the shag rugs. We've got all, the velvet pussy couch. I even got fake plants this time. Like, I really went all out. I wanted to make it really special, and I just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's like 40-degree heat. We're sunburnt, we're tired, our fingers are like pin cushions because we've been pulling out prickles from everything for the last 3 days. Like, how are you feeling?
I'm exhausted. I mean, like, we haven't even started, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna call upon the festival vibes when it's time and like make it happen. But I'm just hoping that the wind will hold out for us and that we can actually use what was intended. But if not, I'm also open to our our possible alternatives. Like, I think either way we're going to make it happen. It's just going to maybe be different to how we've imagined.
Indeed. I think I need to get my beanbag closer to you because I don't want to have to like lean my arm over to, get on in here. So it's probably going to look a little different to what we were thinking. I had high hopes. This is the biggest festival that we've done. Oh my God. I don't know about beanbags. Sometimes I love them. Sometimes I hate them.
I like it. I like them. It takes a while to like find your spot.
You gotta nail you gotta get the right groove. So we haven't really even bothered setting up the full Labia Lounge thing inside the gazebo because we've been just trying to keep the gazebo in one place, to be honest. It's at a pretty scary lean right now. I don't really trust its structural integrity. Probably should have thought about that, but this is the first time I've done this, so at like a proper sort of festival like this, we're going to be here for like a fucking week, so that's the whole thing. I think probably had several micro meltdowns. Haven't cried yet though.
No tears yet.
I think it's because I just finished bleeding, and so I'm in my like inner spring and I'm feeling like a little bit more robust.
That'll be me soon. So.
Started bleeding on the first day we drove to the festival. And actually, Hannah, my first ever Labia Lounge assistant when we did it for the first time at Comfort Creek, started bleeding on the first day as well. So it's a tradition.
It's a good omen, maybe.
But we're feeling pretty fucked up and pretty haggard. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how we go. What I'm doing right now, though, is just trying to get some recordings from people around the campsite in case I don't get to open up the real Labia Lounge, and we've just done a little makeshift one in the back of my van in my beanbags. So how do you feel about pulling a card from the deck?
Done. All right. Have you ever faked an orgasm, and why? Oh, yeah. I've definitely faked an orgasm. More than once. I've not so much of my personal life. I would say there's definitely potential that I have faked them in more in the work sense, like doing sex work. I find that it helps to reach completion. If they feel that I am also orgasming with them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's quite cringy, and I might have a bit of I might be having a bit of a hard time trying to keep its authenticity because it's not authentic. So not proud of it, but definitely have.
Well, I mean, it's also kind of part of the job. Like, if you want to do a good job and make them feel good, and, then I imagine...
Yeah, I mean, it's just not realistic to... I mean, there was a time when I started where I could definitely orgasm pretty much with everybody. And that's getting harder as time goes on. But I find like I definitely have found it to be a good tool. And I think if they're getting the experience that they're coming for, regardless of if I'm having a real orgasm or not, they're still getting the satisfaction as if I did.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So like to me, it's like they're still getting the service that we have agreed upon, and and I guess I'm not getting so physically exhausted out of it as well because, after a full day of work, it's a lot of orgasms for one person to endure.
God, most people could not wrap their head around having too many orgasms that you're so knackered. You're like, I can't have one more orgasm. Because I think a lot of, I don't know how rare it is, but I hadn't heard, like you can come quite easily when you want to. So with most clients, you can actually have a real orgasm, right?
Mostly. Like sometimes I struggle. Like if a guy has shaved, I find that the prickliness of his pubis is just like scratching my clitoris like sandpaper.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I find that really hard to reach orgasm with that because I can't push past and enjoy like the friction.
That sounds horrific.
Yeah,
dude.
it's horrible. So I actually really prefer like hair
same.
down
I do
there.
not. I don't like it when there's been manscaping done.
Yeah,
Stop that. Leave it alone.
I so often have like clients who are like, I'm clean, I'm shaved, and I'm like,
Oh no.
yeah, but like, why? What's wrong with your hair? Just leave it, man. Like, I'm probably fucking hairy, so.
And
you
yeah,
know?
the prickliness is actually such an issue. Like I can't even just pash rash like from a guy's face when it's really stubbly.
Totally. I mean, at the end of a shift when I used to work long hours, stubble rash was just such a thing. Like I'd be so raw and sore on my face. I'd have to start kissing lighter through the end of the night, like. And they'd be like, and I'm like, oh yeah, just your stubble, but like, you know, it's probably also the stubble from the guys before, but like in this moment, your stubble is the one that's affecting me most.
Yeah. So then what do you reckon about, because like I think that that's part of the job description, but then in your personal life, what do you think about faking orgasms?
So in personal life, I'm just trying to have a think to just make sure that is something that I have done or haven't done. I should be able to just, say straight out no, but I'm sure there may have been a time.
Maybe when you were younger.
Yeah. Look, honestly, like I don't even remember orgasming with my first partner. We were together for like 5 years and I just, I don't remember orgasming with him.
Yeah.
I actually remember, I think the first time I had a recognizable orgasm, like my second partner was like the one who pointed it out, and I was like,
he was like, hey, did you know?
Right. So it's like, it's so sad because that means that, I went into that just kind of wanting to impress my partner. It was just, he was 5 years older than me, and it was just like, all right, we're going to have sex, and this is like, he's getting enjoyment out of that, and he gets his genital sneeze at the end of that, and I guess I'm just there looking sexy and being appealing and like not getting any pleasure out of that until I kind of realized like, oh, that's right, that's what that is. Okay. So yeah, with them, I don't think I faked an orgasm. There is a potential that I may have faked an orgasm at one point, out of like maybe guilt, like, or maybe to wrap sex up.
Yeah. I hear that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, but like I can't pinpoint a specific time where I've done that in my personal life, but I feel like there's a possibility I may have. Like,
I think most people have. I'm weird because I haven't, but I think I'm in the minority for sure. Like everyone I speak to is like, I mean, a lot of people still do. So what do you reckon about the second part of that question? How would you feel if you found out someone had faked it with you?
Well, I think in the context of like being a woman, it's a little easier for me to tell if you have or you haven't. But like, I guess it would depend on their reasoning. I mean, I think I'm pretty secure in myself, so I probably wouldn't feel like, it's something to do with me.
Yeah.
I guess like my questioning would be more around like why you felt the need to have to fake, like to feel like you needed to fake an orgasm. Like I definitely don't need someone to feel like they need to finish with me, if or if they felt like they wanted to discontinue, then like we would just do that, and that would totally be okay, and like I'm just open to whatever flowing that way. So I guess I would feel maybe sad for them, or I would feel inquisitive because I'd want to know like why, like why did you need to do that? Like,
totally.
Because you just don't need to. Like, if it's not happening, it's not happening. And I've, multiple times had guys not be able to, reach orgasm for specific reasons.
It's I also really like disrupting that whole kind of sexual script that tells us that it's only complete when an ejaculation has happened.
Totally.
Or like when we've come, then they can relax and be like, oh, okay, cool, like she's had her orgasm and I've done my job and I've provided this thing. Like I think it's not there's a lot of like pretty unhelpful narratives around this sort of thing, and it's very different from for men and for women in terms of like the different ways that we feel pressure on our orgasm.
Totally. This
Yeah.
coming away from this goal-orientated sex, like when we have both reached climax, that it's finished, and that is kind of like what we're kind of aiming to get to, and then missing out on that, taking time, and like, you know, that there doesn't have to be a race that's being ran, and it's more of just an experience that you're having, and it can be as slow and as drawn out as you want, and it doesn't even have to be penetrative, you know, like I definitely I'm still on the journey of exploring that, but I definitely am interested in leaning more towards that, because I think, you know, because of that, you know, culture around it, that's pretty much all we know as of sex, mostly. Unless you're looking into other, like, more alternative practices around it.
Straight up. All right, pick a different card if you feel like it.
Have you ever filmed or recorded yourself alone or with partners? And if so, how was? Well, when I was a teenager, I had a threesome with these two guys, friends of mine. I mean, we were just hanging out, and then, like, one of them had just, like, suggested that we should have a threesome, and I don't know, I was open to it. I'd never done that before.
I was such a tame little teenager. I would have freaked out.
I was so keen. And, like, I have this memory of, like, you know, I'm, like, 16, maybe 17, probably 16, yeah. And, like, you know, it was a funny experience. It's like one of them was, like one of the guys I was actually kind of sleeping with, and then the other one was, like, his best friend. And, like, you know, we're friends to this day, obviously. Not going to mention any names or anything, but so, like, one of them was, like, having a great time, not having any troubles getting hard, whereas the other was, like, really struggling to get hard around his friend. So he'd, like, go outside and, like, jack off for, like, a little bit and then come back in, and then, like, and then try and
That's
do
so
some
much pressure.
And his friend was like, you just like this, you just hold the base, and then you, like, trying to, like, you know, talk about how to get a semi in, and
and you're just lying there, like, trying to be encouraging.
And
then where does the filming come into it?
So, like, we were filming this whole thing.
No wonder he couldn't get a hard on.
And we had, like, holding the
stressful.
camera at different views, and, like it was a
Oh my
phone.
God.
And, like, so I remember at one point I'm in, like, candlestick pose, like, with my hips up, and I'm, like, holding my hips up in the air, and then, like, we're doing some, like, penetrative move from that pose. It's like
That's so advanced.
Yeah.
And then when did so they were like, let's have a threesome, but also let's film it from different angles and basically make a porno.
Well, yes. And then the porno actually got out into
Of course
town.
it fucking did.
Yeah, and I had people like, I've seen your video. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And this was like with my first tattoo, which was the tramp stamp that said, "This too shall pass," which read, "This poo shall pass," because it was like a cursive T, Old English T, and it went around and it looked like a P.
Oh,
so like
did you
also
realize
had
that when you...
No. My mum pointed it out like 2 years after I got it, when she found a picture of it on the computer. And she was like, "Who's got a tattoo saying 'This poo shall pass' on the back?" I was like, yeah, that's me. It says two, but I'd had it covered over by then. But yeah, so the video, it happened and it got out. And
Who leaked it?
well, that's the whole thing. Like, they got mad at me and we weren't friends for a while because they were convinced it was me. And I'm like, I don't even have the video and I didn't show it to anybody. And I know that they showed it to people because, like, one of them have a cousin who saw it. She's like, "I saw your video. Like, the boy showed it to me." And so when other people had said they'd seen it, they got mad at me as if I was the one that leaked the video. But I'm like, there's absolutely no way that I did. So, you know, it was a funny time to do something like that as a teenager and then have it, like...
In a small country town as well.
Totally. Yeah. Like, you know, then that kind of blows up in your face a little bit.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, yes, I have filmed and it was fun. It was adventurous, and I was an adventurous teenager and very often, like, slut-shamed because I was very explorative when I was out of my relationships. Like, my first relationship, I was, like, almost 4 years. Like, it was really long for, you know, being a teenager.
Yeah.
So it came out and I kind of went through my, like, really yummy phase of exploration, and I'm still in that phase now and I'm 30. Like, you know, like, it's just that I no longer allow that feeling of shame to come in, because I realize that came from other people's like preconceptions and beliefs around what it means to be frivolous sexually as a woman, which for me just feels liberating. And like, as long as I'm not harming anyone and it's in respect, like for myself and others, like there's really no issue. You go, girl.
You go, girl.
Yeah.
I cannot fucking believe that. Like, I mean, like, what the hell? I'm still stuck on, like, all right, I reckon those two boys leaked it and then ganged up and decided, let's pretend that we think did it so that, sorry, I just dropped your name, so that she doesn't suspect us.
Yeah.
Like, surely, because, like, how the fuck?
I still to this day have no fucking idea.
It
and
was
like,
one of them. It has to have been.
yeah.
Or
I think like...
Or they sent it to someone
And then that got out like that way. Like all the people that said they'd seen it hadn't actually seen it, just heard about it. Like, who knows? And the reality is, like, at the end of the day, like, yes, okay, it was very mortifying as a teenager in a small town.
Had someone edited it together?
No, I don't think so. Like, I just remember watching it, like, you know, it's just like, okay, this was a bit of fun. It was supposed to be between us. I know that they showed one of their brothers and, you know, like, okay, a few people saw it, and then it was like I was hearing about it like weeks after. And, you know, I'm like, oh, look, whatever, man. Like, at the end of the day, like, now I can look back on it like that, but it was mortifying as a teenager in a small town, and then, you know, what that kind of says about you having a threesome at that age.
Oh, and then the reputation that ensues.
Yeah, totally. I definitely had a bit of a reputation that... Yeah, I guess
It doesn't take much in a country town as a teenager.
Totally. Yeah.
You don't have to do anything to get a fucking reputation.
Yeah. I mean, I just wear it with pride now. It's like whatever is part of, you know, shaping me into who I am and helping me with my exploration, and maybe that somehow turns in, like, ties into my, you know, sex working experience and my playfulness in the bedroom. Like, I'm pretty open-minded, and maybe I've just always been that way because it's innate to me.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Fuck yeah. No worries.
What sexual advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, wow. It's all happening.
How old are you right now?
I'm 22.
22? Okay, so you're young. So, like,
Yeah, I'm in it,
probably your sexual career hasn't even been that long, right?
No. And I've been, like, serially monogamous as well. So, like, ever since I was maybe 12 or something, it's been like 2-3 year relationships.
I'm sorry. Did you have penetrative sex when you were 12?
No. But relationship wise, like, I've been. Yeah.
I mean, apparently that's the average age these days.
It does happen.
Crazy
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I mean, I was 15, I think, when I had penetrative sex.
Yep. Nice.
So the question was, what advice would I give to my younger self? It's funny to answer that question because there was a lot. Every time I was with a woman sexually, I was always emotionally in a long-term situation with them as well. So our understanding became very mutual. So it's hard to give advice because I was blessed with the ability to have empathetic conversations and have a good understanding.
Yeah.
But I would say, it's such a good question. Are there any, like, questions around it that can help me crack this egg or something? Because I feel like there's an egg that I'm not.
Yeah, okay. Let me think. Maybe is there anything that you, like, wished you'd known that you had to discover the hard way, or that you've figured out now?
I wish I knew about natural birth control. So, like, there's a thing called the Kaya
awareness
and fertility awareness. There's an app that does that, and then there was like a Kaya, which is like a diaphragm that my partner puts in, and that's not obviously, like, that's not a me thing, but that was really cool because I was like, I remember when I was young, one of my partners was like, the partner I was with was like, I'm gonna go get this rod inserted, and we were young, it was a whole big scary thing, and it really affected her. And I kind of felt like it wasn't my space to explore options, and she would just assume, you know, I assumed that she would just know what was best, and it's her body, she could choose whatever she wants, but I wish I knew about, like, other options
that you could have suggested and offered. That is a tough one though, because it's kind of like, you're a dude, this isn't your territory.
Right.
And it's like, you know, but yeah, I often, like, people just go to the doctors and get told, yep, have this, take this pill, get this rod, like.
Right, yeah.
And they don't know the side effects, they also don't know the other options, and they're just terrified of getting pregnant, so they just do it. So what's the thing called?
It's called a kaya.
Kaya, and it's like a diaphragm.
It's a diaphragm, and you insert it, and it comes with a spermicidal lube. So you put the spermicidal lube in it, and then you insert it, and you leave it for 24 hours, I think, or 12 hours or something.
Oh.
And then you pull it out, and you wash it, and you put it back in its case, and it...
But you only have sex while it's in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, have sex while it's in.
Yeah.
And then if the man ejaculates inside, then you leave it in for 6 to 12. It was 6 to 24 hours. You basically leave it in overnight and take it out the next day, kind of thing.
Till the jizz is trickled out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you take it out, and it's
Wow,
like, yeah.
that's not like, because I can't think of it. That sounds. I would hate to do that. That sounds so annoying and like.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, I can't even use a moon cup. It really pisses me off just having to wedge things up there. My vagina doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Also, spermicidal lube, very bad for the old microbiome inside the vagina.
Is it?
So I would not be using that.
Whoa, see, but knowledge is being gained.
I make my own lube. It's called motion lotion, and it's
No
natural as fuck,
shit.
so that you're not messing with like the bacterial balance in there and the
No
pH and
shit.
stuff.
Oh
So
my
if she
God.
starts getting like thrush or infections quite easily, then that's probably why.
Whoa.
Yeah, just let
okay,
her-
that's super good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pass it on to her. That's great. Oh, wow. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, let's
it.
crack another question.
Hey, baby babes. Sorry to interrupt. I just had to pop my head into the lounge here and mention another virtual lounge that I'd love you to get around. It's the Labia Lounge Facebook group that I've created for listeners of the potty to mingle in. There you'll find extra bits and bobs like freebies, behind the scenes, or discounts for offerings from guests who have been interviewed on the podcast. There'll also be, hopefully, inspiring, thought-provoking conversations and support from a community of labial legends like yourself. My vision for this is that it becomes a really supportive, educational and hilarious resource for you to have more access to me and a safe space to ask questions you can't ask anywhere else. So head over to the links in the show notes or look up the Labia Lounge group in Facebook and I'll see you in there. And now, back to the episode.
In your relationships, have you more commonly had the lower or higher libido out of the two of you? And how has this made you feel or been navigated?
More commonly, I've had a higher libido in my relationships, but I have found that I haven't, I don't know the right word here, enforced, acted upon, engaged with that higher sense of libido often. I've always kind of just flowed to my partner's rhythm and sat in there. And in relationships I've had when I was younger that were dysfunctional, that became a very strange environment. Sex kind of became a tool that was used to, I don't know, not even gain pleasure or explore or release. It was something that was kind of used to prove a point. I think she was trying to, I don't know, I can't assume, but she was really unhealthy. And I think there are times when, again, I've just been so fluid and empathetic in that regard, and it's just kind of thrown things out of whack. I mean, that relationship was a totally different story altogether. But yeah, I've always found I've had the higher libido, but it's never... My favourite thing is being in the moment with somebody and being on the same page as my partner. And to me, like, that's everything. If we're on the same page and we're putting up a tent and it's flying in the wind, or we're, stuck in a mud pile and the car's bogged, like, as long as we're on the same page, like, I feel okay. And I feel like we can solve a problem together, and I can lead out of it, or she can lead out of it, or one of us has room to have the other one be supported. As soon as we're not on the same page, I get lost and I go, I don't know where you are right now. And my instinct is to follow and find and again, be empathetic.
Try to reconnect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Attunement, I suppose.
Yep.
With your partner.
Yeah, and that when I was younger, I would I'd become malleable and just kind of form into the shape, into the cavity that was left. And I meant I had no capacity to live the rest of my life, or chase my own goals and stuff. So now I guess I like to stay kind of more in my own...
Have some boundaries.
Yeah,
healthy
exactly.
boundaries.
Yeah, and that encourages actually a more equal balance, because you're not just filling up every hole that comes up. So I found that to me it's like, as long as we're on the same page about what we want and what we're looking for, how often we have sex doesn't... It kind of comes with that natural circadian rhythm anyway.
I can't believe how mature you are. Like a 22-year-old.
I've never been on a podcast like this, so I'm thinking on my feet. Yeah.
Sick.
I appreciate it.
One more?
Yeah, fucking oath. I don't know.
I'm just loving this because I'm like, mate, when I was 22 and the fucking idiots I was dating when I was 22.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, that's not fair. They weren't idiots. We were all idiots.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we were not, I don't think you can even say the word woke anymore, but like, we were not conscious of like any of the shit that you're talking about right now. So this is, I
appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
When and where have you felt the most comfortable and safe having sex?
Obviously, so I live out the back of my parents' house. In a bungalow, separated housing situation. So, and that's just been convenient. And I'm lucky to have a great relationship with my parents. So, that's an easy answer. Yeah. That's an easy answer because it's like, well, I've always lived in that home, so it's very easy for me to be there. But at the same time, I would say, you know what? The places that I didn't expect to feel comfortable and safe, and then all of a sudden falling and flowing into it, and then being able to live in that moment.
Like where?
Like on the beach.
Yeah.
Like on the beach,
cool.
under the stars, or like by the fire, or like somewhere that's not obtrusive to other people, but also is like, oh, there's a rock there, and I'm like out in nature, for example, in the bush, like places where you kind of have to settle into it, and then you realise that it's all okay, and you're actually, these trees aren't going to hurt you, and like we've been doing this for 100 years.
I think as long as you're not at risk of getting busted, somewhere out in nature can be like phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, do you make much noise? Because like if I was out the back of my parents, I'd be like stressing. You know?
We do stress. It's funny. I'm pretty quiet. My partner's a little bit louder, but there's enough space that you don't really hear anything. We have had someone accidentally walk up and knock on the door, and that all happens and stuff. But no, we've never really worried about that. It's never really been a problem. Which is interesting, which is a good thing.
Rock on.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah, totally, because it sucks, like, living in, maybe a share house or...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, with folks and stuff. Like, often I'll give my clients, like, home play practices to, like, go and do this particular self-pleasure session or try something out. And they're like, I just don't feel comfortable enough because I'm worried about the sound, like, my parents might hear me or my housemates, or... And then I'm just like, fuck, like, it's actually such a lady boner killer when you can't make as much noise as you like and you're a little bit paranoid. That
I've noticed that with my partner too, and sometimes it'll be like, it'll be super sweet, like we're in her room in her house and everything's the way that it should be, like in her house, and the blind's open about this much, that's 2 millimeters for the people listening, and then it's just like the people are watching, and I know what that means, and I'm like, imaginary people are watching us, like we'll close the blind. And, put a little sock in front of the door, and just even rechecking that the door is locked can change the energy straight away.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious as to what that is, and it's a person to person thing. But sometimes she'll feel that something will just switch, and she's no longer in a place where she's
able to relax.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me tell you, this is my jam.
Tell me.
That is such a common thing, especially for people with female bodies and female arousal processes, for us to feel ultimately aroused, sexually, feel desire, feel turn on, feel pleasure, and have properly deep orgasms and orgasmic experiences. We need to be in our parasympathetic nervous system, which is that rest and digest, super relaxed, super surrendered. For us to feel relaxed and not have cortisol and adrenaline coursing through our veins, constricting our blood vessels, constricting circulation to our pelvic floor and our erectile tissue, we need to be relaxed, because that dilates the blood vessels, that allows our erectile tissue to become engorged and fill with blood, and then that makes the nerve endings all feel yummy and pleasurable and allows vaginal orgasms to happen. And it's very, very contextually dependent. So the context can change. It's if you are in a really great mood with your partner and you're playing around, you tickle, and they're kind of into that tickliness. But if they're pissed off at you and you try to tickle them, that will not feel good. Or it's if you smell a delicious melting cheese smell in a restaurant, you're fuck, that smells yum. But if you smell the smell of cheese in you know, the bedroom or someone's socks or
you're
something, and it's
sick
like
or something,
the
yeah.
context is different, and so the same smell will just translate to your brain very differently. So with like contextual factors for women in particular, like for everyone, but definitely for women in particular, yeah, it makes a big difference whether we are able to feel totally safe, totally relaxed, totally able to like be present in that moment without any like stress factors coming in, without any of those like stress hormones coursing through our veins. And I think like everyone has like brakes and an accelerator when it comes to like arousal. So it's called the dual control model of arousal. And so if you know, one of the things that presses her brakes is like worrying about being busted or someone seeing, then as soon as there's even like that thought in her head, it's like if you're in the ocean and you think of a shark, you're like, fuck, it's all over, I gotta get out.
So true.
You know, and it just puts on the brakes, so her arousal will just dry up. But then like, you know, she might have other things that press her accelerator, which will really like turn her on, and you know, I mean, it's a bit more complicated than that, but that's probably what you're noticing when like the mood changes completely. All of a sudden, like the energy was flowing and then it's just stopped. Like because, you know, she maybe just got a bit nervous that someone was watching, or I don't know, just was pulled out of the present moment.
Right. Yeah.
Thrown up into her head rather than the body with like, you know, full like, yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what's going on in
That's
that.
dope. I love that. I appreciate your insight.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
No worries.
That's dope.
Do you like using sex toys? Why not?
I don't mind it. I like going to the sex store and looking for sex toys. I think that's fun. But I feel something about grabbing this man-made item that I don't understand very well, and then using that between me and my partner, it's like I just kind of feel disassociated a little bit, and I have used them, and we've enjoyed using them and stuff, but I feel like, okay, well, is there a button? Okay, it's a button. Suddenly I'm using a machine, and I'm like, this is not...
It's not as intuitive.
Yeah.
You're not getting the biofeedback of your fingertip touching her skin. It's like
Exactly,
there's this thing in between you, and it's a bit of a barrier to connection, maybe.
Yes, yeah, and I have to think logically about this thing. I start turning it into like, it feels more like I'm delivering a service, and less like I'm
participating as much as
yes,
you're doing something to them with this tool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to put words in your
No,
mouth. I feel like
no.
I know what you mean.
For sure.
Yeah.
And like that like role can be fun of like doing something, you know, and being like providing a certain kind of feeling from afar, but it's when it's like I don't feel like that's the objective of some of these tools, and so I'm like, she's super engaged with whatever's going on, and I'm kind of just existing, hoping I'm doing a good job, which is like the worst place to be for a dude, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Amazing. Great answer. Fucking
Thanks.
awesome. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. That's okay.
I
Thank you.
reckon that's a wrap.
We got it.
What was your experience when you got your period for the first time? How were periods talked about in your home?
We didn't really talk about periods in our home. I feel like my mom had a period and would use a pad, and you knew that, but you didn't know what a period kind of was. And the first day I got my period, I was at my cousin's house down the road, and my tummy felt weird, and I went to the bathroom and like saw little brown stuff, and then I was just like freaking out the whole day, like I couldn't eat. Because I thought it was supposed to be this big thing that was gonna happen, and I was like waiting for this big thing to happen.
So you knew that it was your period coming?
I knew it was my period because of the brown stuff, and I think I told my cousin and she confirmed it.
Right.
But I expected like an explosion to happen, so I didn't eat for the day. I was just like on edge all day.
Fasting. Got my manna.
And then my mom came home and she brought me a book.
Oh, okay. So some kind of resource at least, but
yeah.
didn't talk to you personally about it, just gave you the book?
Not really, just
Okay.
gave me a book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a common story actually. All right, I've got one more for you.
Sure.
What is your biggest sexual turn off?
Lack of confidence.
Right.
Yeah, lack of
Yep.
confidence. I think confidence can sell it more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's also pretty relatable for a lot of people.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Even just like, I mean, especially I find people can have a bit of bravado and confidence like
when you meet them and outside of the bedroom, but then in the bedroom the performance anxiety sets in. And yeah, I feel really empathetic for like, I sleep with men, and like just the it's so obvious when their confidence fails them because they can't keep a hard on, and then they get in their heads about it, and then it's this whole, and you try to be really like, you know, encouraging and gentle and like it's totally fine, but like you can tell that they're just like, fuck. So anyway, cool, rock on. What do you do when you are getting hot and heavy, you're kind of like going down, and you kind of like new person, maybe not even a new person, just anyone, and you just come across like a really smelly dick, but you're already down there and you're kind of like what do you do in that situation?
What do I do?
And how do you feel?
I feel sorry for the person. I don't judge, because I would hate if that happened to me. So I'll go down, give it a little, you know, quickie, and then you just use your hands and you make them feel special, and then you continue upwards. From there on up, not down with the mouth. In the nicest way possible.
I know. Well, that's a beautiful answer, and I'm so grateful. What a community service you're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like I was saying to my friend earlier, like, it's a tough one because it's also like, if someone like starts going down on me and then like 30 seconds later comes right back up, I'm like, oh no,
makes you feel
what's
like
going on?
shit, and you're like, wait, did something? Is it me or
is
what?
it me? Do I
like
smell?
shit?
Do I
And then
taste
I'm
that?
like, fuck, do you just want to fuck me? You about to come? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, like
what is it?
Are you just not a generous lover, or is it me?
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah. So yeah,
It's not us. It's not us. We know.
It's not us. It's not us. Well, I also just feel like there's something I've been noticing with all the convo that I have with people. A lot of people's parents didn't teach them how to clean under their foreskin and like how often to clean their dicks. Like I've met people who maybe only clean it once a week, and I'm like, oh babe, and I don't judge, because it's like, if you don't get taught that, how do you know? You go through puberty, everything just, even just like the kind of, I don't know if you know about like male kind of anatomy, but like the foreskin's fused to the glands of the penis up until, you know, they're kind of moving more towards puberty, and so you've got to like really gradually just peel it back a tiny bit each day in the shower, and then a little bit more, and then one day it kind of just comes free. And it's not the same with everyone, but
Does
like,
it?
yeah, so to fully like retract back, like roll back the foreskin all the way off the head of the penis, it's actually fused on there when you're young. And so for circumcision, they actually have to like scrape it off. It's like it's a whole thing. I've got an episode about that. It's really quite
Maybe I should
brutal.
listen and get to know.
Yeah, it's so horrifying actually. And so, you know, like if you haven't been taught any of that, why would you know? I mean, you'd probably figure it out, but maybe not. If you just, because also there's all this shame around genitals and touching genitals, so maybe they're just trying to like, I don't know about with men, but I know for women often clients will tell me that like they really don't want to interact with their vulvas at all if they can help it. They like wipe after they wee, they like give it a quick clean in the shower, but they've never looked at it, they've never really explored it. There's a lot of kind of shame around that. So yeah, I think like you might not even know you have a smelly dick.
Yeah.
So in that case, like if you're in a relationship with someone and you're noticing there's a bit of a hygiene thing going on, like do you like have a sexy shower with them and like soap them up and just try to like get the schmegma out of there?
I can give you my previous experience from this, and I'm an honest person and I don't care, and I say be honest with me too. He had not a very nice smelling one, foreskin. Are we on?
Double check. I was like,
checking
imagine if I didn't press record.
redo all that again. Fuck
that.
Fuck my life.
Go.
And then I
was
just
always just not very.
Yeah, and I just said, give it. I'm washing. Here's what I'm being nice. It was friendly, laughing. Like, you know, we were so close like that. We could just say that shit. Yeah. I said, can you clean it? Smell. Sweaty smell. Work smell. It's from work. It's from all your running around, all your sports. And it probably was, but also the underlying issue was not cleaning it properly. I said, do it like this. Let me clean it. Let me dry it. And he was loving it. He wasn't hating it because he could have touched his dick. So it's like 2 in 1. So really, I'm benefiting, but so is he. So he probably got it. rude after it. So, because it made me horny. So I was like, I don't know.
Cleaning away the dick juice
yeah.
made you horny.
Oh, I'm so horny. I just crave that all the time.
Dude, so how's this? I have an ex. He's actually been on the podcast a couple of times.
Yeah.
We're really good mates. We did a whole TMI episode together, which was the most raw dog content on the internet, I reckon.
Good.
And then we did another episode called I'm Straight and I Sucked a Dick, because he's super straight, but he just always wanted to give it a go. Just be like, I'm curious. He's like, I think I'd be good at it. Sucked a dick. It was a big thing. He told me all about it on the podcast. Good episode. Anyway, he wouldn't mind me saying this. His last name's Sabatini, and he's got 2 brothers. They're the Sabatini brothers. Yeah. They had a technique they called the Sabatini, or maybe I coined it, because when I found out, I was like, this is the most fascinating thing ever, because I noticed him doing it. When he's camping or at a festival, sometimes even just in the shower, he pinches the end of his foreskin closed and does a wee and lets the wee balloon up under the foreskin to flush around the ridge. Yeah, the corona ridge, and kind of flush, because obviously then you can clean your dick properly in the shower, but if you're out camping or piss is sterile, obviously pissy dick not great either, but he's like, I don't know if it works, but it just we all do it. We call it the Sabatini pinch and release.
That is fucking awesome.
And they just pinch and release, bit of piss around their dick, just flush out whatever.
I've never heard that before. Yeah. Ever.
No, well, me neither.
It's
but
so
then
sick.
I've seen someone else do it, and I'm like, oh, is this just a thing that guys do that I didn't know about?
It's one of those things that we can expose the guys on, guys' deepest secrets. What do you actually do? And it's we just piss in our foreskin to clean the junk.
And it's there'd be stuff around periods and just vaginas and vulvas that guys don't know about until they're in a relationship, a long-term relationship, and they start. And potentially, hopefully that's also fascinating to them sometimes, because of conditioning and shame. It's gross and weird to them, and they don't want to know about our bodily functions, but generally if they're on board, it's cool. And I feel that's something that I've relished, having relationships with men, is just finding out all of this stuff about their junk that we would have no way of knowing. Little tricks and techniques that they just do, or things they have to keep in mind and be kind of aware of, because having balls as well.
Yeah, right. Mate. There's so much actually going on down there. Isn't there? But
so it's super interesting.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of questions in here about that sort of stuff, because I'm we should all just be talking about this.
Absolutely, I think so too. You can take it further.
Fuck. All right, great. Well, did I just ask you one question so
I think
far?
that was one.
Wow, that was a good tangent.
Good, nice one.
Let's find another one for you.
You can go as intense as you'd like.
Yeah, all right.
Excuse this quick interruption. I'm shamelessly seeking reviews and 5-star ratings for the potty because, as I'm sure you've noticed by now, it's pretty fab, and the more people who get to hear it, the more people I can help with it. Reviews and ratings actually do make a big difference to this little independent podcaster, and it's really easy to just quickly show your support by taking that simple act of either leaving 5 stars for the show on Spotify, or even better, writing a written review and leaving 5 stars over on Apple Podcasts. Or if you're a real overachiever, you can do them both. That would be mad. If you're writing a review, though, just be sure to use G-rated words, because despite the fact that this is a podcast about sexuality, words like sex can be censored and your review won't make it through the gates. Lame. Anyway, I would personally recommend doing that right now while you remember, just to get on top of it and let me know you're with me on this journey. Thanks, gang. Enjoy the rest of the epi.
Well, since we're kind of on the topic of on the top of bodily fluids and whatnot, do you like swallowing cum? Why not?
Yep. Ah, wait, I didn't even finish the answer. Oh, the question.
Love it. Love cum queen, cum queen. Oh my
yeah,
God.
pretty much. I just think it's fun, and I know the boys like it, and it just makes you feel good when you do it, and they're like, "Oh, did you just?" And you're like, "Yeah, of course I did."
Do you actually like the taste of it though? Or you just in the
okay,
moment?
so I've
because if you weren't horny, would you actually get around some?
Well, yeah, I would.
Sweet.
I would.
Fuck yeah.
Why not? Like,
Good.
who cares?
I'm a bit squeamish, but you know.
That's totally fine. And it's not for everyone. It does taste like off egg whites, but like, I don't know. Like, okay, I've been with a few partners and like, it's just tasted like shit. But then a few people I've been with, it just tastes like great. Not great, but just, yeah. Is it
Sex
is that,
nectar.
Is that what it tastes like? I don't know, but it just tastes like fresh. It's just like not that eggy, like kind of like taste
Healthy
or
lifestyle.
smell.
Live clean.
Yeah. Well, this guy was actually like jacked up on roids and like
shit.
drugs every weekend.
But he probably sweated out all of his toxins
true.
in the gym, being a shred lord.
You know what?
And then his cum's got like nothing in it, basically.
He's literally got nothing holding him in. It was like fucking
Also,
it was
roids
just piss.
shrink
Like,
your testicles, so maybe he just had like less cum.
Maybe.
Do not quote me on that. That's not science.
well,
That's not
yeah.
true.
Who even knows what's true, right? But yeah, I would cop all the time. Hot loads. Why not? I don't know. It's just fun. It's like if they do something that they don't necessarily like, but then I'm like, oh, I reckon it's so good, and they do it, then I'm like, you're a sitcom.
What a champ.
Like, champ, lord.
Taking it for the champ.
Yes, I'm like,
yeah, and there is that thing about like if someone likes something and they're really turned on by it, then that's also a turn on to you.
Exactly. Because like they're turned on, and then I'm like, fuck, that's hot.
Yeah.
Then it's just better. That's the chemistry. That's what chemistry is. Chemistry isn't just like one person liking the other thing and the other person not. It's like both of you just in it, liking it.
Yeah, you're
know what
not
I mean?
wrong. Yeah, I totally know what
You know what I mean? I could just be talking shit out my ass right now, but I don't even know.
No, it's all on the money, girl. You know you're good. You know this shit's gold. Like, I fully agree with all that. I think it's like, yeah, these are my favourite kinds of conversations. And it's just sad that, like, I mean, in me, like, 8 years ago, oh my God, no, would never have a conversation like this. Hadn't even sucked a dick.
Oh,
Terrified
really?
of dicks. Yuck.
Yeah.
Grossed out by my own body. Literally. First time I tried to masturbate, I wrapped my fingers in Glad wrap because I was grossed out to touch my pussy. Yeah, that's why I do this stuff now.
And that's good, because then you're probably helping other people out there too. Who
That's the
like-
idea.
Exactly.
I mean,
right.
you're fine.
Yeah.
You're already all over it.
But yeah, there's always bits and parts that can contribute, you know.
So the same guy, Max, who sucked the dick that I was just talking about, in our TMI episode, he talks about how he eats his own cum. And he's like, well, I don't want to expect someone to, you know, cop a load in their mouth if I'm not prepared to do that. And like,
Wow.
I mean, it's a whole thing. There's all these other reasons, and it's become this like, whole thing that he
I mean,
talks
true,
about.
right? Like, so true.
Yeah.
But like,
Do you taste your own pussy juice?
no.
Have you?
No. Don't know
Why not?
why. Oh, well, if like they're down on me and then come hook up with me, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't like
put a finger in
masturbated and
then-
like, no, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't done that.
You should.
I should. I mean,
That was an
might
edge.
as well.
That was definitely an edge for me. Like
Yeah.
at one point, but also like a lot of my friends, a lot of people I know, like it's a way to kind of check up on your pH and how things are going down there, and like your taste changes throughout the month, and then like you know, it's kind of lemony if the acidic balance is right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's like something. I've got friends that really enjoy doing that as like a barometer for their vaginal health and staying
Maybe I
connected
should
to
now.
themselves.
So this is why
There
I
you
come
go.
to you, because
There
I
you go.
learn.
There you go.
I learn things, right? Smart. Okay. Well, I'll keep you updated on that one.
Yeah, thanks. So good.
Oh my god, what the fuck? I don't know why I've never thought of that. It's probably like the most basic thing you could do as well.
No,
Like,
I don't think many people. I don't think it's.
yeah, but it's like
common.
the easiest thing to do. It's
It's
just like
easiest
this.
thing. Yeah, but like I hadn't even touched myself for pleasure or like interacted with my vulva until I was like 20.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is fair.
So I think like people are up against a lot of conditioning, a lot of shame, a lot of like, don't go down there, that's dirty, that's a sin, that's fucking, you know, people with religious upbringings or just the cultural like conditioning and shame. It's like I kind of see why some people have never explored, never looked in the mirror and like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. How you feeling? Do you want one more? You done?
Let's do one more.
All right. Let's find out what I got
Here
in
for
here. What are things people have said to you during sex that you've liked because it was either hot, funny, or just made you feel comfortable?
So things I've liked.
Yeah.
And not liked or liked?
I think we'll go with
can do
liked, but
both.
you're welcome to roll into not liked. That's another question in here. But
Okay.
yeah, like things that people have said or done during sex.
Yeah.
That's been really helpful, or like that you've been like, yeah, that's hot, or like, oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. I love when it turns into like a funny moment for a minute, and like you both like fuck up something, like when you go to like move into a different position and like you both fuck up. And it just like gets like that awkward stage, and I'm not awkward, so I just like turn it funny, and like hopefully the other person like reciprocates that, like laughs at it too, and they all have as well, which is funny. And I'm just like, oh yeah, nice one, and they're just like fuck, and I'm like, oh, just shut the fuck up, like just fuck me.
happened.
And they're just like, yeah, we'll fuck you, like, you know, just that shit. I'm like aggro sex, like I like it hard and crazy.
Yeah.
Soft shit, like it's fun. It's fun when it's like a loving connection, but when you're just fucking, just fuck me. Like, I don't know, like do whatever the fuck. So I don't know when they say like, oh, you know, I normally like people don't know maybe how to approach me. They're not like, oh, should I do this or should I? I'm just like, put your hands around my neck, and they're like, oh, you want me to do that? I'm like, yeah, do it. And they're hold on, I'm like, harder. And they're like, oh, you like that? I'm like, fucking harder. Like, just the reciprocating, probably communication is probably like the biggest turn on for me.
Yeah.
Is like when they know what I'm telling them to do and they do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like compliments during it, probably like, fuck, keep going, like it's good, like keep going, like, you know, you learn the Gluck 9000 pretty soon. Do you know that one?
What's the Gluck 9000?
No! Sex expert doesn't know about the Gluck.
Gluck?
Do you know about the Gluck?
Have you heard of the Gluck? Is this your friend?
No.
Oh, come on in. We've got a new contributor.
Beautiful this place is.
Thank you.
Wow, I can't believe you don't know about the Gluck.
Okay, is this a porn thing though? Because like I don't watch porn, so I feel like, and I'm like a bit old. How old are you?
Guess.
I mean, you're wise beyond your years. I'm guessing you look like 22, but you talk like you're 30.
I'm 21.
Man, kids these days. Cannot say it enough. I've been having all these insane conversations with these ascended fucking 20-year-olds. Okay, so I think it's an age gap thing. Gluck. Have you heard of this?
Gluck 9000.
All right.
So there's the 3000. Yeah, so there's the 3000, the 6000, and the 9000. So the Gluck. So you've probably done it, or maybe not. I don't know what you guys' sexual history is like. But what is you just shove their dick so far in your throat and you're almost vomiting. Like, you know, some people have gags, some don't. Just get it to the stage where you're like, ugh, and there's just so much like just juicy shit coming from your mouth. You spit it on there, you spit in both your hands, you rub it together so it's nice and warm, and you grab the dick, and then you just go up and down with your hands and your mouth, and you just like hard pressure, just quick as fuck, and you just look at them and you just like do whatever the fuck you want to it. And it's just like fast, it's like tornado, cyclone, extra
What's
spit.
the 6,000, 3,000?
So just different levels of it. So
Like
the
how
3,000 could be like a one hand with like not too much spit, but still going. 6,000 is probably like two hands and a little bit.
Dude,
like
where
just
did you
going.
get this?
Well, I just thought it was a thing.
But where did you hear the term the first time?
Probably, I don't know if it was my friends or the Call Me Daddy podcast.
Okay.
Maybe that one. I can't remember where I initially got it from, but it kind of like went around for a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, the Gluck, like, I don't know. So the Gluck 9000 is just...
Oh my, okay. Well, I think I've done that without intentionally doing the Gluck.
Yeah.
Maybe not the intensity, furiousness. But yeah, but also like that gag reflex, like the deep throat vibes where you get the really viscous. It's almost like it's not regular saliva. Yeah, that's like people have throat gasms and ejaculate from the throat from doing that, and it's like stimulating the vagus nerve.
It does give you that euphoria that you need at that time. Yeah, it puts you in the...
And so one of the reasons why this is me putting my sex educator hat on, is because that deep throat stimulation and triggering the gag reflex, along with things like humming and toning, a couple of other things, it tones and activates the vagus nerve, which runs all the way down through your nervous system, through the heart to the uterus, so your cervix. So, which is like where you can have some fuck off orgasms from. So like the whole throat connection with the pelvic floor, and then the nervous system, which is so very influential in female arousal and us being really turned on and having orgasms. That's why you can get that feeling from deep throating.
Interesting.
It's like and natural like instinct in us that we need.
Yeah, and it's not for everyone. That's also fine. Like, you don't need to be fucking deep throating someone to like get there. There's other ways. But yeah, that's interesting that like, people talk about that. And then I'm like, yeah, there's a reason behind that, actually.
Some of them love it, some of them might not like it. So you just figure it out. I don't ask questions. I just do what I want. And if they don't want it, like, in a good way, not like a crazy, non-consensual way, I'll just do my shit. And if they're not liking it, I'll easily tell. I'll switch it up. You don't just gluck for, fucking 20 minutes straight up. You start slow, see what they like, and if they start loving it even more, you keep going. And then you reach 9,000. And if they haven't come by then you fucking keep going.
Oh my God. All right, well,
I've definitely taken something.
That leads me to, oh my God, it's almost just gone out of my head. What was I about to say? That reminded me of another question. Fuck. Oh, no. There's too much pressure. Oh, yep. All right. So, you were saying, like, if they're into it, they're into it. If they're not, I can tell really quickly.
Yeah.
What if someone, like, do you think, because obviously a lot of women fake orgasms and men are like often can't tell.
Yeah.
But I feel like we are a little bit more intuitive. It's harder to fake it if a guy's not into it. Like, how would you feel if someone faked an orgasm with you? And, like, do you or have you faked orgasms with other people? And I'll start with you, and then I'll go with you.
Nice. I have never faked an orgasm, and I never will.
Nice.
If I'm not liking it, I'll let them know, and I'll tell them what I want to make it happen. It's not hard for me to, with the right person, I guess. I don't know. I've just always have, so it's like that part's never really been an issue. But if they were to fake one with me, I would just be honest and say, you don't have to fake shit with me. Tell me what you want, and I'll do whatever the fuck you want. I'm open. I'll let you do anything. So, like, I don't really give a fuck, do I? Can you put this up here or on the podcast? Is that sweet?
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Sweet. But yeah, you just... Yeah, if they did it to me, it'd feel pretty shit. Like, I don't think anyone has. I hope not. Normally it's like either on my face or in me, so I know that they've done it. But straight up, I'm just honest, guys. But yeah, I'd just talk to them and just be like, yeah, just tell me what you want, and I'll do it. So tell me what feels good for you, or if I haven't already read their minds and done it, then it'd feel pretty shit.
Yeah.
So that's why I would never do that to someone.
Hey, me again. If you'd like to support the potty and you've already given it 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening on, I want to mention that you can buy some really dope merch from the website and get yourself a Labia Lounge tote, tee, togs. Yep, you heard that right. I even have Labia Lounge bathers. Or a cute fanny pack if that'd blow your hair back. So if fashion isn't your passion, though, you can donate to my Buy Me a Coffee donation page, which is actually called Buy Me a Soy Chai Latte, because I'll be the first to admit I'm a bit of a Melbourne cafe tosser like that. And yes, that is my coffee order. You can do a once-off donation or an ongoing membership and sponsor me for as little as 3 fat ones a month. And I also offer one-on-one coaching and online courses that'll help you level up your sex life and relationship with yourself and others in a really big way. So every bit helps, because it ain't cheap to put out a sweet podcast into the world every week out of my own pocket. So I will be undyingly grateful if you support me and my biz financially in any of these ways. And if you like, I'll even give you a mental BJ with my mind from the lounge itself. Saucy. I'll pop the links in the show notes. Thank you. Later.
Yeah, so for me, it was... I wouldn't fake it. I would just stop before faking it.
Yeah.
Why should I fake it? It's not good. It's not good. Get off me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like I understand why people do fake it, though, because there's so much pressure on orgasm, and then it often just finishes this situation quicker because, but it's coming from a place of people pleasing and, trying to not make someone feel insecure.
Yeah, exactly. But you're just not feeling it. You're not feeling it.
Yeah, and I think
They're not feeling it either. They're not.
Exactly right, yeah. And if you're both not
it's like a massage, right? You know when people massage you and they know where they're...
Yeah.
Right? It's that connection.
Some people are really awkward and struggle a bit with intimacy and touch and things like this, though. I feel like
we all want that confidence and whatever, but then I'm like, oh, what about the people that, you know, have anxiety or, you know, feel a lot of pressure to perform and worry about, you know, like a lot of guys will struggle to keep an erection because they're so like anxious. And I think it's really important that, yeah, just as lovers in general, we're kind of like, because I've never faked an orgasm. And I didn't know that was a thing. And then the more people I speak to, the more, like, it's actually, this is wild that I got 2 people randomly sitting here that haven't faked orgasms, because pretty much every single woman you ask has faked an orgasm or still does regularly. And they've all got their own reasons, which are really valid. And it's a lack of communication, and it's a lack of being able to be, I guess, you know, assertive enough of your own needs and boundaries, and then gentle and loving in the way you deliver that, like, to someone, and try to like coax them into, just educate them a little bit, but
just like not being like themselves either. It's like, you know, you're just faking like what's going on and like who you are and like things like that. You just, not necessarily, but you know, if you're not feeling it, say no. Exactly. Or, you know, try something else, whatever you feel comfortable with, but don't fake orgasm, ladies.
yeah,
Come
it
on,
does
girl.
everyone a
The person definitely
disservice.
knows if you're fake orgasming or not.
I feel like a lot of guys don't know.
No?
Nah, a lot of guys don't know, and we're good. Like, women are good at faking it, and it's not as obvious because there's no like ejaculation or whatever, and all of our erectile tissue is internal inside our vagina, so you can't tell if we've got a hard on or not. Whereas you can tell if he does quite
Like
easily.
a full orgasm, fake it and just go, like
yeah,
your orgasm.
a lot of people do that. Heaps of people do that.
There's no problem if you don't orgasm every time.
I know, but like there's so much, I think a lot of, especially men, will like feel as though like, you know, they need to provide you with this orgasm to feel good in themselves and their masculinity. I mean, some just don't give a fuck about your pleasure, and that's not great. But ultimately, I think they want you enjoy yourself, and they want like, and then they're like, oh, come for me, but like, I want to make you come, I want to give you pleasure, and the woman's like, oh fuck, it's just not going to happen. There's too much pressure. I'm in my head now. He's not, you know, able to take feedback because then he gets insecure and in his head, and then it stops working and it's awkward. Like, there's a lot of reasons that people are just like, it's easier to just fake it, and then the sex is done, and then cool. I don't hurt his feelings. I don't agree with it. I don't do it myself. I've just been like, why the fuck would I fake it? But no, absolutely not. I'm not saying faking orgasm. I think no one should do that, but I understand why people do. And in some situations, it's kind of the best option we've got available to us. So, like, yeah, I just think it's an interesting thing to talk to people about, because there's a lot of people still out there faking it, and for pretty good reasons. But I think, yeah, if we can just, like, try to, like, phase that out, everybody. Because also, like, men need to get better at handling feedback and taking guidance without being, like, shitty about it. Absolutely. Well, all of us do. All of us need to. It should just all
come from love anyways. It's not like a hate thing. It's not like, you know, if you just had that sex with that person that one time, it's like they don't know anything about you. They don't know what you like.
How
they don't
are they
know
expected to know?
Exactly.
Yeah, we're all beginners.
Exactly.
And everyone's feeling like they've, like, especially men have a lot of pressure on them to feel like they're king dicks in the bedroom and like know all the moves and can like make you come, but like honestly, how are they to know? They watch porn and that's all they get it from. And then of course every fucking woman, every vulva is different, everyone, you know. So I think it always comes back to like communication and like having confidence, because people are awkward talking about sex, and I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's easier to just go along with something, and you know. So anyway, that's my rant. Thanks so much. This was a great chat. Okay, what an absolute cracker. Loved that chick. Wow. All right, well, that's it for today. That's part 1. There's a bunch more in store. Tune in next week for another episode full of really great stories and convos with the people of Eso. If you have a story for me, if you had an answer to one of the questions I asked that you want to contribute some thoughts to, please send it in, text me, email me, send me a voicey. I'm all about generating these kind of conversations out in the world as well. So get around it, and I'll see you next week. And that's it, darling hearts. Thank you for stopping by the Labia Lounge. Your bum groove in the couch will be right where you left it, just waiting for you to sink back in for some more double L action next time. And in the meantime, if you'd be a dear and subscribe, share this episode, or leave a review on iTunes, then you can pat yourself on the snatch, because that, my dear, is a downright act of sex-positive feminist activism. And you'd be supporting my vision to educate, empower, demystify, and destigmatize with this here podcast. Also, I'm always open to feedback, topic ideas that you'd love to hear covered, or guest suggestions. So feel free to get in touch via my website at freyagraph.com or say hey over on Insta. My handle is Freya_graph_YMT, and I seriously hope you're following me on there, because damn, we have fun. We have fun. Anyway, later labial legends. I'll see you next time.